The phone rang at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning in April. I was already awake, sipping coffee in my home office while reviewing quarterly reports. The caller ID showed Victoria, with a photo of my sister-in-law's perfectly contoured face. I smiled, set down my coffee, and answered on the third ring. "What did you do?" Victoria's shriek was so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. "The IRS is here. At my house. They're saying I owe them $40,000. "Good morning to you too, Victoria," I said calmly, maximizing the spreadsheet on my screen. "I assume they're there about your babysitting income?" "Babysitting income? What are you talking about?" "The $5,000 monthly payments I've been making to you for the past 16 months. You know, for watching Emma and Mason while I work? Surely you've been reporting that income on your taxes." The silence on the other end was deafening. I could practically hear the gears turning in her head as she realized what had happened. When she spoke again, her voice was strangled. You set me up." "I did nothing of the sort," I said, pulling up the digital copy of our contract. "I paid you exactly what you demanded for childcare services. As a responsible employer, I reported those payments to the IRS, just like the contract you signed required me to do. Section 3, subsection C, if you'd like to reference it. But let me rewind 16 months to explain how we got here. My husband Paul and I had been married for 8 years. We had 2 kids, Emma, 6, and Mason, 4. Life was good until Paul's tech startup hit hard times and folded. Suddenly, we went from 2 comfortable incomes to just mine as the senior director of finance at a pharmaceutical company. Paul fell into a depression after the business failed. He tried to find another job, but the market was tough, and each rejection hit him harder. After 6 months, we agreed he'd be a stay-at-home dad while he figured out his next move. It wasn't ideal financially, but we could make it work. Enter Victoria, Paul's older sister. Victoria was what you'd generously call a lifestyle influencer, meaning she posted photos of herself in expensive clothes at fancy restaurants, pretending her life was more glamorous than it was. In reality, she lived off her husband Carl's modest salary as a plumber while constantly scheming for ways to make easy money. She showed up at our house one Saturday morning, designer knockoff bag in hand, face full of concern that didn't reach her eyes. "I heard about Paul's little setback," she said, air-kissing my cheek. "You poor things. Both of you having to work while juggling the kids must be so hard." "Actually, Paul's staying home with them," I said, leading her to the kitchen where Paul was making pancakes with Emma and Mason. Her eyes lit up. "Oh, Paul, you shouldn't have to do that. A man needs to work, needs purpose. It must be so emasculating." Paul's shoulders tensed. I saw the blow land exactly where she'd aimed it. "I could watch the kids," Victoria continued, voice syrupy sweet. "Free you up to job hunt properly. Network. Rebuild your career. That's kind of you," I said carefully, "but, of course, I'd need to be compensated. I mean, I'd be giving up my own career opportunities. My influencer business is really taking off." Her business had 3,000 bot followers and averaged 12 likes per post. "We appreciate the offer," Paul said, "but we can't afford." "Oh, I wouldn't charge much. Just enough to cover my expenses. Say, $5,000 a month." I nearly choked on my coffee. $5,000? Victoria, that's more than most people's mortgage. She waved dismissively. "Quality childcare is expensive. Besides, I'm family. I'd be providing premium care, not just some teenage babysitter. Think of it as an investment in your children's well-being." "We'll think about it," Paul said, which in our marriage meant absolutely not. But Victoria didn't let it go. She called Paul daily, texting articles about the importance of male careers, sending job listings, casually mentioning how depressed he seemed when she'd stop by. She was relentless, and she knew exactly which buttons to push. The breaking point came when she showed up during dinner one night, barging in without invitation. "I just came from Carl's cousin's house," she announced. Her husband stayed home with the kids for 2 years. You know what happened? She left him. Said she lost all respect for him as a man. Paul went pale. Emma asked what respect meant. Mason knocked over his juice. "Victoria, that's enough," I said. "I'm just trying to help." "Paul, honey, you're withering away here. Let me take this burden off your shoulders so you can be the provider your family needs." That night, Paul broke down. His confidence was shattered, his sense of worth decimated. Victoria had been poisoning him slowly, and I'd been too busy with work to see it happening. "Maybe she's right," he said. "Maybe I should let her watch the kids." Focus on finding something, anything. Paul, you don't need her help. You're doing amazing with the kids. Am I? Or am I just a failure hiding behind them? My heart broke, but my anger at Victoria burned hotter. Fine, I said. Let's hire her. Paul looked shocked. We can't afford. We'll make it work. But I have conditions. The next day, I called Victoria. We've decided to accept your generous offer. Oh, wonderful. I knew you'd come to your senses. When do I start? First, we need to formalize this arrangement. I'll need you to sign a contract. She laughed. A contract? We're family, which is exactly why we need one. To prevent misunderstandings. It's just a simple employment agreement outlining hours, duties, and compensation. Well, I suppose that's sensible. I spent 3 days crafting that contract with the help of my company's legal department, who owed me a favor. It was airtight, comprehensive, and completely above board. Nothing illegal, nothing unethical, just a standard childcare employment contract with very specific terms. Victoria came over that weekend to sign. She barely glanced at it, too excited about the money to read the fine print. Section 2 outlines your hours, I explained. 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. 11 hours a day? That seems like a lot. You said you were providing premium care. Premium means full coverage while we work. She nodded, already calculating the money. Section 3 covers compensation and tax obligations. As your employer, I'm required to report all payments to the IRS. You'll receive a 1099 form for tax purposes. Sure, whatever, she said, signing with a flourish. Section 4 details your duties. Meal prep, educational activities, transportation to and from school, homework help, light housekeeping related to the children. Housekeeping. Her nose wrinkled. Just cleaning up after meals and activities. Standard nanny duties. She hesitated, then shrugged. $5,000 a month was too good to pass up. What Victoria didn't read was Section 5, Performance Standards and Documentation. Or Section 6, Penalties for Contract Violations. Or the addendum about mandatory reporting requirements. For the first month, Victoria tried. She showed up mostly on time, kept the kids alive, and posted approximately 40 Instagram stories a day about being a career nanny and child development expert. By month 2, the cracks showed. She'd arrive late, leave early, park the kids in front of the TV while she scrolled her phone. She'd send them to school with bags of chips for lunch because making sandwiches was exhausting. I documented everything. Every late arrival, every early departure, every violation of the contract she'd signed. I installed security cameras, with notice as specified in Section 7. I kept meticulous records. Meanwhile, I paid her exactly $5,000 on the first of each month via direct deposit, with detailed pay stubs showing gross payment and noting her responsibility for taxes as an independent contractor. Paul found a job by month 3, a great position at a robotics company. We didn't need Victoria anymore, but when we tried to give notice, she exploded. You can't fire me. I gave up everything for this job. My influencer career is ruined. I need this money. According to the contract, either party can terminate with 30 days' notice, I said. Then I'll sue. Wrongful termination. Discrimination. I'll tell everyone you're horrible parents who don't care about their children. I pulled out my phone and showed her a compilation video. Victoria on her phone while Mason cried. Victoria leaving at 2 p.m. for a hair emergency. Victoria feeding the kids cereal for lunch and dinner. Victoria telling Emma to shut up when she asked for help with homework. Please feel free to make this public, I said. I'm sure your followers would love to see what kind of premium childcare you provide. She stayed. Not because she cared about the kids, but because she needed the money. Carl's plumbing business was seasonal, and they'd grown dependent on that $5,000 monthly income. They'd bought a new car, upgraded their lifestyle, taken vacations. All on the assumption that this gravy train would never end. For 16 months, I paid her $60,000 a year for substandard childcare that we didn't even need after month 3. But I had a plan. You see, Victoria had made a crucial error. She assumed that because the payments came from family because it was just babysitting, it wasn't real income. She never reported a penny of it to the IRS. Meanwhile, I reported every payment, filed every form, sent every 1099. As far as the IRS was concerned, I'd paid a childcare provider $80,000 over 16 months. A provider who had never filed taxes on that income. You reported me to the IRS? Victoria's voice on the phone had gone from shrieking to deadly quiet. I didn't report you. I simply fulfilled my legal obligations as an employer. You're the one who chose not to file taxes on $80,000 of income. But I'm family, which is why I made sure everything was completely legal and above board. Didn't want any appearance of impropriety. This is entrapment. No, this is called following the law. You might want to reference Section 3, subsection C of your contract, which clearly states your responsibility for all applicable taxes. I didn't read the contract. That's evident. Though it's interesting, you managed to read Section 1 about compensation very carefully. You even initialed next to the payment amount. She was sobbing now. They want $40,000. Penalties and interest, and Carl's going to leave me. We don't have that kind of money. What happened to all those earnings? 16 months at $5,000 each? That's a lot of money to have nothing to show for it. You know what happened? We spent it. We thought. You thought you could take advantage of your brother's depression to squeeze money out of his family. You thought you could provide terrible care to my children while getting paid more than most teachers. You thought rules didn't apply to you. Please, Natalie. Please. I'm begging you. Can't you tell them it was a gift? Or a loan? And commit tax fraud? Absolutely not. Besides, I have all that documentation of your work. Timesheets you signed. Performance reviews you acknowledged. The contract you executed. It's very clearly an employment arrangement. The best part was still coming. I pulled up another document on my computer. However, I said, you might want to check your email. What? I've sent you something that might help with your situation. I heard her fumbling with her phone, then a gasp. I'd sent her a detailed invoice for contract violations. Every time she'd arrived late or left early. Every duty she'd failed to perform. Every breach meticulously documented with video evidence and timestamp data. According to the penalties outlined in Section 6 of her contract, the section she hadn't read, she owed me $47,832 in damages. This is more than the IRS wants. Yes, it is. However, I'm willing to make you a deal. Sign a full confession acknowledging your failure to provide adequate childcare, agreeing never to work with children again, and never to contact my family for money, and I'll waive the damages. That's blackmail. No, that's a settlement offer. Your alternative is to pay both the IRS and me. Your choice. It took her 3 hours to decide. 3 hours of calls from Carl, her mother, Paul, who I'd finally told everything to, and who was furious at his sister, and various family members she tried to rally to her cause. In the end, she signed. She had no choice. The IRS doesn't negotiate the way family does. The aftermath was spectacular. Victoria had to sell her car, downsize her lifestyle, and take an actual job. At a daycare center, ironically, though that lasted exactly 1 week before my confession paperwork mysteriously made its way to her employer. She tried to turn the family against me, but I had receipts. Literal receipts. Every family member who called to complain got a copy of the contract, the performance documentation, and a supercut of Victoria's premium childcare in action. Paul was shocked when he learned the full scope of what I'd done. You planned this from the beginning? From the moment she tried to destroy your confidence to make money off our family? Yes. Every penny I paid her was worth it to expose who she really is. But $80,000 was a small price to pay to remove a toxic person from our lives permanently. She'll never be able to hold family connection over our heads again. And she'll definitely never come near our children. The IRS payment plan Victoria negotiated will take her 7 years to complete. 7 years of monthly reminders that she tried to con the wrong family. Carl didn't leave her, but he did take control of their finances. She's not allowed access to accounts or credit cards. Her Instagram influencer dreams are dead. Hard to promote a luxury lifestyle when you're on an IRS payment plan. The last time I saw Victoria was at a family birthday party. She sat in the corner, designer knockoffs replaced with Target basics, glaring at me with pure hatred. When Emma ran up to show me a drawing, Victoria actually flinched. Aunt Victoria looks sad, Emma observed. Some people make choices that make them sad, I told her. The important thing is to learn from mistakes. Did she make a mistake? A very expensive one. Paul's confidence recovered once Victoria's poison was removed from his life. His new job led to a promotion, then another. He started his own company again, this time with better partners and a stronger foundation. And the $5,000 a month we'd been wasting on Victoria? We put it in college funds for Emma and Mason. They'll graduate debt-free, which is more than Victoria will be able to say for the next 7 years. Some people might say what I did was cruel, that I should have just fired her and moved on. But those people didn't see Paul's face when his own sister convinced him he was worthless. They didn't watch my children being neglected by someone who claimed to love them. They didn't experience the manipulation and greed disguised as family concern. Victoria wanted $5,000 a month for babysitting. She got it. She also got everything that came with it, the legal obligations, the tax responsibilities, and the consequences of her choices. The contract she signed so eagerly, dreaming of easy money? It wasn't a trap. It was a mirror. And Victoria finally had to see herself clearly in its reflection. The IRS doesn't care if you're family. Neither do I. Not anymore.